They tried to bury it, not because it was dangerous, but because it was too effective. This wasn't therapy. It was a psychological detonation, ripping open more truth in one session than years of conventional methods. They silenced it because it didn't just guide people, it rewired them. Let's be brutally clear, this technique wasn't designed for comfort. It wasn't built to make you feel better. It was forged to make you see, even if that vision shattered your previous reality. Within every human being exists two worlds, the superficial realm where we perform, explain, and pretend to know ourselves, and the raw, subconscious abyss where unvarnished truth resides, untouched, unspoken, often too terrifying to confront. The black file technique was born in the volatile space between these worlds. Its origins lie in the clandestine trauma studies of the early ATS, unofficial reports, off-the-record case notes, files that never saw the light of publication. Researchers were pushing the boundaries of deep retrieval methods, tools to unearth buried memories and suppressed emotional blueprints. One file screamed for attention, a report marked classified, behavioral interruption protocol. Inside, a single chilling line scrawled by hand. Subject accessed a memory never reported in 15 years of therapy. Result, emotional collapse, followed by identity reconfiguration. Technique banned from future sessions. That scribbled note was the genesis of what would become the whispered legend, the black file technique. And here's the secret they'll never tell you. It wasn't banned for harm. It was banned for its unrelenting efficacy. It doesn't operate like therapy. It doesn't build rapport, validate feelings, or offer empty platitudes. It bypasses every rehearsed story, slips beneath every carefully constructed narrative, and yanks open the drawer where your unedited truth lies, forcing you to confront it with your own eyes. When early results were presented to therapists, many recoiled. Some decried its lack of empathic framing, others deemed it too destabilizing. But off the record, they confessed the real fear. If a person sees what's in the black file too soon, they can never return to the illusion they were pretending to be. That is its terrifying power. You're likely wondering, what is this file? It's not literal ink and paper. It's a psychological construct within every person. A collection of repressed experiences, trauma-induced beliefs, fractured identities, and suppressed instincts that form the true operating system of your behavior. It's a raw code explaining why you sabotage intimacy, why you chase rejection, why you erupt in disproportionate rage, why you shut down when connection deepens, why you conquer publicly but crumble in solitude. And here's the most brutal revelation. You didn't even create most of it. It was installed by your environment, your childhood, your culture, and often the unprocessed pain of those who raised you. This is why most people exist on autopilot, not broken, but merely executing a script they've never seen. A black file, controlling them from the shadows. So why am I revealing this now? Because in a world drowning in superficial healing, toxic positivity, and dopamine-driven self-help, you deserve real tools. You don't need another TED Talk on self-love. You don't need to chant affirmations while trauma claws at your ribs. You need a flashlight and the unyielding courage to descend into the basement of your own mind, where the black file awaits. But be warned, once accessed, your relationship with yourself will irrevocably change. You will confront parts of yourself that are cruel, deeply wounded, manipulative, terrified, brilliantly insightful, or utterly numb. You will face memories you thought were obliterated, patterns you believed were destiny, and choices you never knew you were making. This is the price of clarity. This is the entry fee. You do not get to remain innocent. Still here? Then prepare yourself. In part 2, I will guide you through the precise, real-world psychological framework to locate, access, and retrieve the most suppressed parts of your internal code. You will not be the same. But if you are brave enough to continue, you will never be confused again. Because once you hold the black file, you stop reacting, you start understanding. Now that you grasp the essence of the black file, here is the chapter that shatters everything. This isn't theory, it's raw application. But don't mistake this for a quick fix. It's a direct confrontation, and it comes with a stark warning. Follow these steps correctly, and you will not return as the person you were. This method wasn't built for gentle journaling or casual introspection. It was engineered to hijack your autopilot, pierce through your conscious defenses, and expose the raw data your mind has been concealing, often for decades. You won't be visualizing ethereal houses or descending into fantasy staircases. This is psychological exposure, rooted in 5 uncompromising phases. Use this with extreme responsibility. Do not attempt this if you are emotionally unstable, sleep-deprived, or already overwhelmed. You require a grounded nervous system and a razor-sharp mind, because once you access a real file, and I mean truly access it, you may unleash suppressed emotions that will demand immediate processing. Step 1. Preparation. Simple, yet most fail here. Find a quiet, locked space. No phone, no screens, no background noise. Sit upright in a chair, no slouching on a couch or bed. Have a physical notebook and pen. Handwriting forces a crucial slowing down. Set a timer for 45 minutes. You are not permitted to rise until it rings. This is not meditation, it is a mission. Step 2. Dump the surface files. Open your notebook. At the top, write this prompt. What are the 10 moments I never talk about but still think about? Do not overanalyze, just list. 1 line per entry. No paragraphs. No justifications. Some will seem trivial. Others will make your hands tremble. This is the objective. Your black file is hidden within this list, protected by years of conscious suppression. Step 3. Locate the fracture. Scan your list for these undeniable signals, a sudden visceral tightness in your chest or gut, an urge to skip over a moment as if it holds no significance, or, conversely, a profound, unsettling numbness about a specific entry. That is the one. The mind doesn't hide the irrelevant. It conceals what is too heavy to bear. Circle that moment. Step 4. Interrogate the memory. Write out the entire memory, but from pure sensory recall. What was the room like? Who else was present? What words were spoken just before everything shifted? What did your body feel? Hot, frozen, dissociated? Then, answer these 3 questions directly. What did this event teach me to hide? What part of myself died in that moment? What belief about the world did I adopt that day? If you feel profound discomfort, you are in the file. Step 5. Stay with the discomfort. This is where most abort. You will be overwhelmed by the urge to close the notebook, to distract yourself. Do not. Sit still for 10 full minutes. No writing, no movement. Just allow the truth to echo through your body. You are no longer analyzing, you are absorbing. This step fundamentally rewires your relationship to the memory, not by fixing it, but by finally facing it without denial. Step 6. Translate the file. Now create a second list, titled, How This Moment Still Controls Me. List 5 ways that old moment manifests in your life today. Your relationships, your tone in arguments, your drive to overachieve or self-sabotage, your fear of abandonment or need for control, your response to compliments. Each bullet is a line of active code, still running in your system from that single file. It is no longer subconscious. You have just brought it into conscious awareness. Step 7. Close the session. Conclude by writing this phrase in ink. This memory is now decoded. I don't need to relive it to reclaim it. Then stand up, go outside, breathe deeply, touch something tangible, speak aloud, laugh. This step is critical. Do not remain in that mental chamber or the file will reabsorb and you will lose the clarity you just earned. The word. Final warning. Never open more than 1 file in a single session. The brain's denial mechanism exists for a reason. Violating this boundary can lead to psychic destabilization, and I mean that literally. This is not therapy, this is internal reconnaissance, and it is not for everyone. You now possess the process, not imagined, not symbolic, but real, effective, and brutally honest. The black file technique works because it forces you to stop intellectualizing your wounds and start locating them. And once you can locate them, you can rewire them. That is where chapter 3 begins. Before we delve into the next chapter, understand this. I have already exposed 15 forbidden laws they never wanted you to see. Not just laws of intelligence, but the true reasons your potential was shackled. Schools never taught you these. Society conceals them. And those in power have wielded these laws for decades, keeping you blind. Because once you read them, you stop thinking like a follower and start moving like a weapon. This isn't self-help, this is cognitive warfare. These laws weren't designed to motivate, they were forged to untrain your mind from the systems that kept you weak, obedient, and forgettable. The full ebook just dropped. Find it in the comments. Access it now, before it vanishes. The black file technique doesn't guide. It doesn't heal gently. It rips open a door your mind sealed shut for survival. And that is precisely why it was never included in therapy textbooks. Not because it lacked results, but because its results were too immediate, too raw. Mainstream psychology is built on slow excavation, trust building, gradual exploration, emotional containment. But this technique bypasses all of it. It doesn't care if you're ready. It doesn't wait until you're safe. It shows you the very thing you've spent your entire life hiding from yourself. There's a reason your mind avoids certain memories. They were too much at the time, too painful, too humiliating, too overwhelming to process. So the brain files them away. It constructs false narratives around them. I'm just not a relationship person. I've always been like this. I don't know why I panic, I just do. Lies. Not conscious lies, but survival-based distortions. The black file technique forces you to strip away those filters and see the exact belief, trauma, or moment of collapse that programmed you. Most people cannot handle that level of clarity, not because they are weak, but because their very identity is built around avoidance. Early trauma researchers who experimented with versions of this technique reported terrifying results. Clients entering identity confusion, emotional disintegration within minutes, memories surfacing that had been buried for 20+ years, a complete loss of emotional narrative control. This wasn't gentle progress, it was psychological confrontation, and in response, many therapists retreated, not because it was invalid, but because it was too true too quickly. It became clear, if a person accesses their black file too fast, they will see who they really are beneath the performance. And once you see that, you cannot unsee it, which makes you unpredictable, unmanageable, free. It's not just about safety, it's about control. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The technique wasn't just suppressed for mental health concerns, it was suppressed because it disrupts the therapeutic business model. When someone uses the black file technique correctly, they stop outsourcing validation. They stop relying on therapists to decode them, stop needing books, courses, or coaches to feel healed, because they have accessed the source code. They know why they self-sabotage. They know where the abandonment wound originated. They know how the belief, I don't deserve love, was installed, by whom, and when. Once that happens, they don't need 40 sessions to process. They need space to rebuild, alone, from truth, not theory. That's what makes the technique dangerous, not to the individual, but to the industry built on endless emotional dependence. Once that happens, they don't need 40 sessions to process. They know where they can, why most people shouldn't use it. Let's be honest, if you've been avoiding certain memories for 10 or 20 years, it's not by accident. It means your current self-image, your emotional tone, even your relationships are structured around that suppression. Opening the black file too early or without preparation can collapse your sense of identity, reveal inner contradictions that destabilize your reality, and awaken emotions that override logic and self-control. This isn't a technique for people looking to feel a little better. It's for people ready to burn the fake self to the ground and start over. You want the truth? Here it is. The black file technique removes illusions, and illusion is the fuel of the modern mind. Most people aren't addicted to dopamine. They're addicted to not knowing why they feel the way they do, because the moment they do know, they become responsible. No more blaming parents, no more blaming exes, no more saying, I don't know why I'm like this. You do know now, because you've seen the file, and the second you see it, you can no longer pretend you're a victim of your mind. That kind of mental independence, it's lethal. That's why they buried it. That's why therapists were warned. That's why you were never supposed to find this video. In Chapter 4, we go deeper, because unlocking your black file is only the beginning. What you do after you decode yourself, that's where transformation, power, and emotional weaponry truly begin. You've opened the file. You've seen what most people spend a lifetime avoiding. So now what? Most techniques end here. They lead you to the moment of realization, then abandon you. But realization without integration is a mental fracture. It leaves you cracked open with nothing to bind you together. This chapter is the antithesis. This is where we make the knowledge usable. Because what good is clarity if you collapse under its weight? Let me prepare you. After decoding your black file, expect these 5 psychological earthquakes. Your old narratives will implode. The stories you told yourself, I just overthink, I'm not lovable, that's just how I am, will suddenly feel like hollow lies. Your emotions will feel sharper, almost raw. Memories will surface randomly. Certain smells or faces will trigger unexplained, intense reactions. You're not breaking down, your subconscious is simply reorganizing itself. You may feel profoundly disoriented. Friends may not recognize your new emotional baseline. Conversations may feel hollow, performative. You're not disconnected, you're simply no longer faking coherence. You will question your entire timeline. You'll look back at your past not as a series of events, but as a pattern your mind was forced to adapt around. You will crave isolation, not because you're depressed, but because you're detoxing from false roles, fake connections, and performative identity. To not just survive this shift, but to forge it into unyielding strength, follow these 3 ironclad rules. Rule 1, don't chase normal. You have outgrown your old mental operating system. Stop trying to reinstall it. You are not supposed to revert to who you were. You are not supposed to fit in anymore. You just saw the code. You decoded yourself. That's not trauma. That's rebirth. Let the old version of you die quietly, intentionally. Rule 2. Build new behavior before new beliefs. Forget mindset hacks for now. Forget journaling positivity. After accessing the black file, the only way to rewire is through action. Say no when you would have said yes. Speak up where you used to go silent. Walk away from what you now recognize as manipulation. Do not wait until it feels right. It won't. Your nervous system is conditioned to the old loop. You must act first and allow belief to follow behavior. Rule 3. Install a new identity, piece by piece. The most dangerous moment after awareness is the identity void. You've dismantled the fake personality. Now, you must replace it with something authentic. But do not rush it. Construct your new identity like this. Choose one core value, just one. Example, I don't betray myself to be liked. Live it for 30 days. Then, choose the next. Stack, integrate, adapt. You are not creating a mask. You are constructing a mind congruent with truth, not performance. What you will begin to notice once you've integrated for 60-90 days is a rapid, profound change. You will feel uncomfortable around people who haven't done the work. Emotional manipulation will become glaringly obvious, like watching someone read from a poorly written script. You will stop reacting. You will start choosing. People will say you've changed, that you're colder or different. Take it as a badge of honor. They're not talking about your tone. They're talking about your immunity. When you fully integrate the file, you become psychologically lethal. Why? Because now you can see people's defense systems without reacting to them. You recognize manipulation before it lands. You detect projections, power games, and emotional hooks without getting ensnared. You understand your own patterns so deeply they no longer control you. You are no longer trying to be liked. You are no longer playing the identity game. You are operating from source, that is mental power, not motivation, not intelligence, not charm. Power. Most people spend their lives decorating the prison of their unconscious mind. You just found the key. And instead of running from your shadow, you made it your ally. You now carry a file no one else can read but you, a file that explains you entirely. And if you choose to live by it, you will not just become more powerful, you will become unshakable. Because the person who understands their own code can never be manipulated again. You made it this far. You are not the average viewer. Most people click away when the truth gets uncomfortable. But you opened the file. You saw yourself. And you didn't look away. That tells me one thing. You are ready for more. So, here's what I demand of you. Comment this. I've seen the file. No context. Just that. The ones who know will know. And I'll be watching the comments to see who's actually doing the work. Second, if this shook something loose inside you, if your mind has been rewired, or you feel like you can't go back to your old self, check the pinned comment. That's where I've linked the Whisper Power Bundle, my private vault of psychological tactics, audiobooks, and unreleased techniques. Every dark framework, every upgrade I've built, no fluff, just mental weaponry. And finally, if you're still holding back, if you're still not sure what to believe, watch the next video. I don't care which one, just keep going. Because once you open the black file, stopping halfway is not an option. You either become what you were designed to be, or you stay trapped in the version they created for you.